Okay, welcome everybody. Another edition of the Wednesday Quick Tip. And today we're going to be talking about strategic web design. And with us is Rick Nicow, who's going to lead us through the three phases of strategic web design and why it's important to do this planning for your business website.
Yeah, so like on my website, I like to talk about strategic web design, and I usually break it down into like three categories. I have the actual building the website itself, and then there's an internet marketing portion of that. So once the website is up, then you want to create some buzz around your website. So you do that through internet marketing. The last part is the analytics and research part of it. So once the website is up, you want to look at your traffic and see where you can improve and make differences for the customers or visitors to the site. So before we even start the websites, I like to look at, there's two basic habits or two basic needs that are out there. So one is going to be the company's need, and the other one's going to be we'll call them the client's need. And I've wrote them down into basically 3 or 5 areas of approach.
Okay, so let's start with the client needs.
Okay, so the clients are what they're looking for is they want to have a way to resolve a problem or an issue that they're having. So they need to have a search ability to search to find this a solution. They need to be able to evaluate and compare. So at this point, you're kind of looking at a great sales thing would be you look at your benefits. What's the benefit of the service or product that you're offering? A lot of people will say they want to look at features, but at the very beginning, I think it's more benefits, because what you're really trying to do is solve the problem first. And then the client's going to go through this phase of deciding. They have to go and say, will this work for me, or do I need something else? So that becomes more of a logical phase to it. Then there's a purchase phase where they're actually saying, okay, now I'm ready to buy. And it's almost at like that split second that it becomes emotional, because no other thing is going to tell them, all the logic is gone at this point, and they just want the product. So they're going to, at that point, they're going to be an emotional buyer. And
so in those steps, so once you're up there, what's sort of the process that these customers go through? Is this on the first visit to the site, the second visit, the fourth visit? Is this kind of after they've done some comparisons with other sites?
Yeah, I mean, like if you go to the factor of decision, there's going to be a lot of logical parts in that. So they may go off your site and go and compare, and that's a logical process. They're going to say, oh, I want to do a price comparison, or I want to do a service comparison, or maybe it's something that's, if it's service oriented, maybe the guy's closer than another company,
Yeah,
so
location.
those are all parts that have to be kind of thought out, in the 2 parts of trying to even get to the point where you're building a website. But like one of the last parts that I think the clients really look at is the reevaluation.
Yeah.
So at that point, they purchased it, they received it, and now they're saying, okay, does this thing actually fit the need? Did this solve the problem that I actually have?
So that's the last step.
Yeah.
Is that when they've got it and they've used it, and they're making it, evaluating it to see how it impacted their business.
Yeah. Or impacted their problem. So at this point, this is kind of where if you have real heavy sales literature and it's overpromising, then when they receive it, they could be disappointed because it's not living up to what they expected, or it's not meeting their need. It could be that it does perform to these benefits, but it may not fit their need. And then at that point, that could be the difference between having a good returning client or a client or a customer that's disappointed. And even at that point, they can start giving you negative feedback based on their experience.
So if your site is created in a way that describes products inaccurately, you can get problems because people don't get what they think they're getting.
Yeah, yeah. So I like to look at these 5 things as the client side, and then on the company side, they have a whole another set of areas that they want to look at. So the ones that I wrote down are
Okay, so now we're talking about the company from the company perspective and how the company presents themselves online.
yeah. So first part of what I look at is what's the awareness of the company. How well are they being perceived, or how well is it that it's basically the marketing part. So they got this shout power going out. Are the customers able to find them? And that's part of the awareness. It's consideration. So now this is kind of a match. So the client's got a problem. The customer or the company's got to look at, can they solve this problem? So the consideration is, are they solving the problems? Are they presenting the benefits of their services?
Would that relate to customer targeting and finding the very best customer for your products or services?
Yeah, I mean, there's other aspects to the marketing part of everything, and one of it is to look at target markets. So if you're trying to do a marketing spend, you want to say, how effective am I going to get customers if I hit this target? So target marketing is part of the research that needs to be done. There's a company's perspective. There's an inquiry phase. This is really becomes the art of selling. So now we got the website up. Can the website actually sell? So that's I look at that as one issue completely on its own. So once you've been able to get the sales up there, then you want to look at, is this a place where they're actually going to make the purchase? Or is this something that's going to generate leads? Or is it, sometimes you got to have the people behind it. It's got to have that person-to-person conversation to really close the sale. You start seeing more online sales happening now. I think people are getting more comfortable with buying things online. They trust more, so they're able to buy without really knowing who's behind the website.
Yeah, but trust and knowing what you're getting is still very important, right? So customers, the more information you can give them that's accurate and clear, the easier it will be for them to decide to go with you.
Yeah. So these things kind of both overlap. And the last part is the retention. So you spend all this energy trying to attract the one customer to come in, and if you have the ability to resell them other stuff, you're going to spend less money reselling a current customer than you are trying to attract new ones. So the customer satisfaction part of that plays an important role. Because now you're saying, if they're satisfied, they're going to continue to be a good client or a good customer, and they're going to buy more from you, and it's easier for them to do. They already trust you. They receive parts. They know how your system works already. So I like to look at that as one of the factors.
And that's a big key of existing brick and mortar companies, is companies that you do have trust with and an ongoing relationship with, and that's how companies really become successful.
Yeah, that's really the growth. That's if they can keep retaining good customers, and you're going to have these loyal fans, and even at that point, if they like it so much that they become the raging fan and they start saying how well this company is, that starts to affect your brand, and it brings this brand awareness to other people that you're not even marketing to. They're going to start coming to the site. So it's customer service, customer satisfaction is. It goes back to the real basics, but then if you can apply it through web, then you're achieving things without the presence of human intervention.
Yeah, when you get people talking about you without you having to do work, that's
golden.
pretty powerful.
Yeah. So the other areas, after the website is built, I go back into the inquiry phase of the clients, the customers, or the company's phase. what are the stages that a person has to go through to actually buy something on a website.
Okay, so you're going to talk about the actual buying process a person goes through.
Yeah, so now we're going into this part of this is really the entry to phase one where you're building the site. So these are the things that I like to look at. So it's initiating their relationship. So we're talking about, what's the trust factor of the site? How's the graphics and how does it compose itself as being trustworthy to somebody coming to the site for the first time? Allowing them to investigate now. So the sites have to have a way that they can compare or look at benefits. And at this point, they're really trying to fulfill what's fulfilling their needs and wants. Does the site successfully do that? Those would be yes or no, and look for improvements.
Okay.
Suggesting a course of action. So now you're getting to the point where you want to kind of close on them. Can you effectively close them on the web? That would be like one of my first questions. You may have to make this a lead generation site again, and then follow up with a person-to-person relationship. At this point, closing, you go beyond the benefits now. So now, if you have features within the product, and one of those features stands out as this is what I really need, then that's gonna tip them over the edge to say, okay, now the emotional part comes in. I just want to buy this thing because I know that function is going to work.
So if they have some kind of something connects, they can connect with something on an emotional level on your website, and you basically got them hooked in.
Yeah, I'd say that's the most one of the. If you're talking about closing, I think that's really important. These last two things are obtaining the decision and then closing the sale. So
Okay.
Those you have to kind of look at individually as what kind of project you're working at. Because again, the other part of this that I go into is whether it's going to be online sales generation or online lead generation, and then if you're going to need some offline help. So closing on the web, again, it's becoming more popular. People are getting more trustworthy, and the sites are becoming more established, and brands are becoming more established on the web. So you go to Amazon, you kind of say, "I trust them."
Yeah.
So that's the last part of the web design.
Yeah, getting a site that people can trust and they feel totally comfortable with and can believe in.
Yeah. So they experience it, and then they see the results, and they like it, and they continue to go back for more.